All right, so here we go with the defense assignment. I'm Derek Wilmore, from Kansas City, Missouri, a bachelor's in history, master's in leadership education with a emphasis in history. Currently seeking a PhD in history here at Liberty University. Um, I'm reading these questions to make sure I get everything right. Key research questions. Um, so my topic was about late medieval period education and discipline management. So I looked into why specifically or how was the university managing students, how was the university managing teachers, how were the teachers managing students, how were the students managing the teachers, how was everybody managing each other. Um, I think that was important from my perspective, so that we could see not only the interactions between the groups, but how did those interactions coincide and the relationship between the actions, how did that affect learning? How did that affect the outcome of graduation? How did that affect society as a whole? Um, Whether you were a student or you were someone interacting with a student, whether you were an educator interacting with administration, all of these things add up and play a part in the total outcome. So that's what really got me to want to research this. Major types of evidence. All right, so I looked into some firsthand accounts of management styles and rules specifically. So, like, for an example, there were rules on how students should conduct themselves, what they could and could not do within the room, um, things like curfews and um, if you broke a rule, what would happen, things of that nature. I looked into many firsthand accounts that gave me information on that. I also looked into firsthand accounts. What was the other crazy pieces of information that I got? Corruption. That's what it was. I looked into corruption in addition to like the management styles, and so corruption I tied that in because I wanted to see what would happen if um, or while professors were doing what they were doing. And I found that to be very interesting because uh, mm, I don't know. I don't even know if I see it as much today as they were talking about in the late medieval period. Like there was a lot of information that I found on corrupt professors, and I found that very interesting. But my main conclusions that I got from this was I figured out that there were a number of different ways students and teachers were being managed. I ran into some information about students holding majority of the power at the University of Bologna, and that was very interesting to me. But nevertheless, I mean, of course, there's always going to be consequences for your actions. Um, but essentially, I found out that from what I've seen, the consequences weren't as extreme as I thought they were. Um, so yeah, they weren't as extreme. What new questions were raised? I was very interested to see why Moors did not, although they were located in Spain. I was very curious to see why um, they did not expand and go into any other university other than Salamanca. So, uh, and I'm sorry to clarify that, I didn't even find any information on them um, going to the University of Salamanca. I just know that the university was built with their architecture, to clarify that information. So yeah, learned a lot, was exposed to a lot of information. So yeah, that's my presentation.